Unto thee, O Lord.
Unto thee, O Lord.
Do I lift up my soul.
Do I lift up my soul.
Unto thee, O Lord.
Unto thee, O Lord.
Do I lift up my soul.
Do I lift up my soul.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I trust in thee.
I trust in thee.
So let me not be ashamed. Let not my enemies triumph over me. Yea, let none that way. On me be ashamed. Yea, let none that way. On me be ashamed. Oh my God. I trust in thee. So let me not be ashamed. Let not my enemies triumph over me. Remember not the sins of my youth. Remember not the sins of my youth. Oh my God, I trust in thee. So let me not be ashamed. Let not my enemies triumph over me.
So I actually heard Jordan singing this the other day, and like, this is a really cool song. So I squeezed it in the book that we're making, and we're gonna sing it tonight. How many people know this? How many people know this? It's not the Ed Sheeran version.
Sorry. I only know Ed Sheeran.
Which one are you doing?
Yeah, the old school one. Yeah. It's the same. I am a poor, wayfaring stranger, while traveling through this world of woe. Yet there's no sickness or danger in that bright world to which I go. Macy and Shelton. Let's stand up for the next group.
And try we're all made to wonder why it should be thus all the day long, while there are others living about us, never molested, though in the wrong. Farther along we'll know all about it. Farther along we'll understand why. Cheer up, my brother, live in the sunshine. We'll understand it all by and by. When death has come and taken our loved ones, it leaves our home so lonely and drear. Then do we wonder why others prosper, living so wicked year after year? Farther along we'll know all about it. Farther along we'll understand why. Cheer up, my brother, live in the sunshine. We'll understand it all by and by. Faithful till death, said our loving Master. A few more days to labor and wait. Toils of the road will then seem as nothing as we sleep through the beautiful gate. Farther along we'll know all about it. Farther along we'll understand why. Cheer up, my brother, live in the sunshine. We'll understand it all by and by. When we see Jesus coming in glory, when he comes from his home in the sky, then we shall meet him in that bright mansion. We'll understand it all by and by. Farther along we'll know all about it. Farther along we'll understand why. Cheer up, my brother, live in the sunshine. We'll understand it all by and by.
It's been a while since I've heard it like that in here. I'm loving it. There should be one more. I thought he was going to have one more.
Bible.
Oh, there it is.
Do we forget one?
Are we not doing this, Elijah? Okay.
Harder. More faster.
He's cooling down.
Okay,
And
we're
then
ready.
we're
Who all knows this song?
yeah. Yeah, we
I'm gonna have you stand up again. That was amazing.
Okay.
So I want that one.
Whatever you want. Alright, upbeat. It's on upbeat. It's like a funeral like
While we're waiting for this, I just want to let y'all know there's a verse in here when it talks about David that we actually changed the lyrics on because we sung it one night and our good friend Jeff Griffith pointed out that it was actually biblically inaccurate. So we changed it to the accurate words, and you'll see in a minute. It says, when it said these are the days of David rebuilding the temple of praise, and he didn't rebuild it.
The temple hadn't been built yet.
Yeah, so we changed it to singing and dancing with praise. Because he did do that.
Yeah, he did.
So,
That's a good change.
okay, Cody might have took the whole slide out, so whatever.
We'll follow you.
These are the days of Elijah, declaring the word of the Lord. And these are the days of your servant Moses, righteousness being restored. And though these are days of great trials, of famine and darkness and sword, till we are the voice in the desert, crying, prepare ye the way of the Lord. Behold, he comes, riding on the clouds, shining like the sun, and the trumpet calls. So lift your voice, it's the year of Jubilee, and out of Zion's hill salvation comes. And these are the days of Ezekiel, the dry bones becoming as flesh. And these are the days of the harvest, the fields are as ripe in your world. And we are the laborers in your declaring the word of the Lord. Behold, he comes, riding on the clouds, shining like the sun, and the trumpet calls. So lift your voice, it's the year of Jubilee, and out of Zion's hill salvation comes.
So who knew? Cody could make a
I
song.
don't think we changed.
That's what happens when you give it to coward people. Not that hard to make. Brenda's like, that was the reason I didn't do that song.
Woo!
You enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Like,
It's the end. We're done.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Devo! So, I think it's pretty cool that even though the words on the last song were not in like normal order, that praise is praise and we're still able to worship with it. So, I kind of like that still. So, thank you for coming here. I see a lot of new faces or old faces that haven't been here in a while, so that's really encouraging. Really happy to talk tonight.
This is the second part of my, little devotional talk. It was originally going to be one, but it's been pointed out to me that sometimes a little long-winded. So, I broke it up into 2 sections. So, last week we went over the kind of broad overview as far as love for righteousness and hate for sin. Just going through the Bible, looking at what that truly looks like, how we aren't hitting it on either mark. We don't hate sin like we truly should hate sin. It pulls us away from God. But we also don't love righteousness as much as we should and be pursuing it as much as we should. So that's just a little review of what we went over last week. This week is going to be a little bit more in depth into rebuking each other out of love, being rebuked, reproved, and one of my favorite passages, Romans 13, going over a little bit of that. So I was talking with Craig a little bit before this, and he asked me, what was the cost of us not rebuking each other or reproving each other to an extent? But even more so than that, what is our society like? In a society that, as long as the authorities don't see it, that it's okay. You joke around with your friends like, oh, hey, I got away with this and this and this and this. But as long as police doesn't see it, as long as a teacher doesn't see it, then it's totally okay. And that hits me hardcore. Because going through middle school and high school and all that stuff, man, if the teacher didn't see it, it was legal in class. It's totally cool. You know, if she's looking the other way and you look over on somebody else's desk, it's legal as long as you don't get caught. So honestly, I'm going to open up a little bit of discussion here. What do you think that's doing to our society? How is that affecting us?
This is the light and the black of society. Like, there's this morally gray area where we're just like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. What else?
I think we've lost integrity. Like, people no longer do what's right whenever no one else is looking and stuff. Like, I mean, any kind of job opportunity, like, you're in a place where you know the policies, you have, like, a handbook, you know, like, what's expected of you, but unless someone's, like, sitting over your shoulder, a lot of times people don't do that, or they take the easy way out.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, like, I feel like every time we get away with stuff, we're feeling like, oh, yeah, you know, we beat the system again, but it kind of gets us in this bad habit that we're thinking we're getting away with God, and He sees all. And so somehow we think, you know, since the world doesn't see it, then God doesn't see it, and that's where we kind of get mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, supposedly, we're getting away with everything.
I agree. Yes, thank you, a guy. Awesome.
Okay, so everybody's going to be like, well, Trevor said this, but bear with me. So, whenever you do something like that, or like maybe you take a test and you use your book on an online test and you're not supposed to, you're like, well, you know, like I kind of need that. Like I need this grade in order to do what I need to, you know, like to get the grade that I need and stuff. And so you justify it. But honestly, if you didn't put yourself in a position to need the book, then you wouldn't have to do that. So it all goes down to yourself. And I've learned that through experience. So yeah, if you put yourself in those positions, then it's going to happen. So don't put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
I think it starts even before that. I think it starts with before even the act, you compromise on your heart. So when you compromise on your heart, then you're compromising on everything else.
I heard somebody say that when you start compromising with sin, you've already lost.
Right.
I find that to be very true. One of my friends, Alex, she teaches over or helps teach at a school, and she said that the kids actually they don't understand stealing like it should be. They think that if somebody's debit card is left out or credit card is left out, if they just go and they use it and they give it back, they don't think that is stealing. This is actually changing the minds of the kids today. It's crazy to think of. But like the moral standards of this generation and this upcoming generation have gone down. A lot of it, man, honestly, like just because kids want to be cool and they're loving sin instead of hating sin. Something that you said, Melvina, was really interesting to me. Proverbs 9:17, it's really cool. I wasn't planning on saying this, but my DAF group, we went over Proverbs 9 and 10 this past week. And, if you want to turn with me, Proverbs 9:17. Really quickly, who needs a Bible? Anybody? Go. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can somebody read that out loud for me?
Someone wanted to sing bread eaten in secret is pleasant.
Yeah. It's just simple, something that I wasn't even planning on sharing, but it was kind of funny because Clay made the point. It's kind of like if you go to like a little knockoff brand or something like that, and you're like, oh man, I'm saving so much money, and this is so good, but then like afterwards your stomach's like crazy upset. Like yeah, it feels good at the beginning, but man, it hits you later. But it's even so much more than that. We are choosing honestly ourselves over God when we do that. So just a little side note that I'm going to throw in there. Very first point is rebuking out of love. Once again, I actually want to open it up. Why do we not rebuke each other? Brothers and sisters in Christ, why do we not rebuke each other in love?
Our society today tells us that judging is wrong. Any form of judging, you can't judge me. Who are you to judge? You sin just as much as I do. But I mean, Paul goes into it. He says, we are the ones to judge the church. Like you are the ones to judge. Like not the outsiders, but amongst yourselves. So, but I think it's our society tells us you can't offend people.
Yeah, I agree. Cody, and then Trevor. Sorry.
I think sometimes it's hard for us to try to talk to some people about something that about a sin because we're struggling with it ourselves. So I mean, you kind of don't want to be that person that's pot calling the kettle black. But I think with time, if you do try to help that person, maybe in return, they can also help you, and maybe it would show you what you got.
I agree. I think there's actually 2 points that go with that are really interesting. One is like you don't want to be seen as a hypocrite, and some people are like, oh, I don't want to be the hypocritical person. But 2 also is I don't want to work on that sin. I'm not going to call them out on that sin. I'm going to accept it in them, so I can have them accept the sin in me as well. So there's multiple reasons why. Yeah, thank you, Trevor.
There's like a correct way to rebuke, and that's out of love. And unfortunately, either there's no rebuking at all, or there's rebuking and there's no love behind it, and it's totally selfish, and it's not to try and better the person that the rebuking is being done to. So
yeah, it's a hard line to follow. Brenna,
I think this is not just in girls, but really strongly in girls. Like sometimes I won't call someone out, or I don't want to call them out because I don't think they're going to take it well, and like I don't want to make them mad, and I don't want them to be upset with me, so I don't want to say something mean.
Yeah, I agree, and I think there's a couple things that go along with that. And I think honestly, to an extent, it's got to be out of love that we do that no matter what, because my sister, she traveled the world last year, and one of the things that she wrote on her blog is, I'm going to care more about my holiness than my happiness. And I think if we truly love our Christian brothers and sisters, we're going to care more about their holiness than their happiness, more about their holiness than even their relationship with you. We need to care about each other's holiness more. But yeah, thank you. Lisa, and then
Sometimes people don't know that what they're doing is sin, like they don't see it as sin, and that makes it difficult to talk to them about it because they're like, I don't know why you're telling me this, I'm not doing anything wrong. Either that, or they think that they can freely sin because they think they've been saved and they're forever saved and they don't have to do anything beyond that.
it's kind of like a stamp for good, everything else is, yeah. Thank you.
Kind of on the topic of, kind of looking at the youth today, or kind of the state of our society at this current point, I think this is a really good quote. It says, our youth now love luxury, they have bad manners, contempt for authority. They show disrespect to their elders and love chatter in place of exercise. They no longer rise when elders enter the room. They contradict their parents. They chatter before company, gobble up food, and tyrannize their teachers. That was written by Socrates 500 years before Christ. It's not a problem with youth, it's a problem with humanity. And I think that this whole idea of not hating sin enough and not loving God enough, it comes right down to selfishness. I mean, the root of, I know like money is the root of all evil, but the love of money is the root of all evil. But it has to do with your heart. What is the money there for? It's there for me. I love the money because it benefits me. So at the root of even that is self.
I agree. Thank you. So there's a couple other reasons that I wrote down that I was just thinking about this. Like I said, as a hypocrite, having to live up to that standard that you're reproving them of, making them mad or hurting your friendship. One is you're comparing yourself to them, and I don't know about y'all, but it's so much easier for me to actually look at somebody and look at all the wrong that's in their life, and like look at my sin and just kind of like kick it back under the rug. And is that easy for anybody else? Just me? Just me? Couple? Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, 3 people make me feel better. No. Yeah. It's so easy for me to look at other people's sin and push mine under the rug. And we're comparing ourselves to each other instead of to Christ. That's just a little side note that kind of popped in my mind. Also, in my talk with Craig, he said that we aren't honest with ourselves sometimes. I know some of the bad that's in my life. I know some of the sin that's in my life. But you better not remind me, because then I'll have to come to terms. I'll have to come to reality with how sinful I truly am. And that's really hard for a lot of people, myself included, to hear. Because I see this sin, but when you, like, basically when you're like, hey, by the way, everybody else sees that sin as well, then it's like, oh, crap, everybody sees me for the sinner that I am. So we don't want to be honest with ourselves, and we don't want to be vulnerable with ourselves. Turn with me to 1 Corinthians 5:11, if you will. It says, "But now I'm writing to you not to associate with anyone who bears the name brother, if he is guilty of sexual immorality or greed, or is an idolater, reveler, drunkard, or swindler, not even to eat with such a one." I'm happy that a lot of y'all are coming here this week, that I see new faces and old ones that haven't been here for a while. But at the same time, I'm a little scared because this talk tonight, it packs a punch. But it's the Bible, not me. But it says these people, do not even eat with them. If a brother is literally in sin and loving the sin, seeing the sin, and not caring about it, it says do not even eat with this person. This is really hard. Larissa knows this one friend of mine, I won't say her name, but she's actually the first friend I made at UTC. Very first friend. And I think like 2 or 3 years, man, we just grew so close together. But then she started dating this Hindu guy. And I tried to share with her where the Bible says do not be unevenly yoked a couple different times. But then I found out that it wasn't just that, but they were actually having sex with each other on an extremely regular basis. And I had to go to her out of love, and she didn't want to hear it. And I actually had to remove myself from her. I think talked to her in like 2 years. And I'm hoping that to an extent, and hopefully if other people do it as well, show her the sin that she is in. But just to dive in a little bit more on that, like let's see what another verse says about that. Go with me to 2 Thessalonians 3:13 and 14. And we actually touched on this one last week. And I said we'd be getting to it again. I really like this one. 3:13 and 14. "As for you, brothers, do not grow weary in doing good." Like I said last week, we weary in doing good. We're like, oh man, I've been, sin-free for this long, or, oh, I haven't, done this bad thing for a while, but you're getting weary of doing the good thing. We shouldn't weary doing good. Verse 14, "If anyone does not obey what we say in this letter, take note of that person and have nothing to do with him, that he may be ashamed. Do not regard him as an enemy, but warn him as a brother." That says a lot. Because it says have nothing to do with him, but at the same time it says warn him as a brother. So there's this balance to this. It's honestly, it's extremely hard. I've failed on both ends. It's a very hard thing to balance. Rebuking somebody out of love, or having nothing to do with them, but still considering them a brother and a friend and trying to reprove them out of love. It's a hard balance. But Matthew 18:15 really helps us with that. And normally I don't jump around as much, but tonight I am as I am. Matthew 18:15 says, if your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he listens to you, you have gained your brother. But if he does not listen, take one or two others along with you, that every charge may be established by the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. If he refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. And if he refuses to listen even to the church, let him be to you as a Gentile and a tax collector. Truly I say to you, whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. So here, honestly, are just pretty normal guidelines. If somebody needs reproving, rebuking, you go to them out of love, but you go to them with one person, and then with either 1 or 2 others, and then you go to the church. So that's just honestly just basic guidelines right there. When I was making this talk, though, I was thinking about it because my brother Levi, he's over the past year and a half that we've known each other, he's actually reproved me a lot. But I've honestly, I've been able to take it well from him. I started wondering about that. And I think it's one huge reason is because he's been encouraging me as well. If I'm just going about my everyday life and this person who doesn't really have a say in my life or anything like that just comes in and he's like, by the way, and just lays a big one on me, am I going to be more inclined to listen to him? Or what if it's a friend who, when he sees something good, encourages me in the good, but then also points out the bad? I think that's a good thing to keep in mind. I don't think that we encourage each other as often as we should. We focus on the bad sometimes so much, and we're like, oh, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. And then when they start doing good, we're like, yeah, good job, you're doing good, whatever. But we need encouraging. We need encouraging. And so I would encourage y'all to encourage others when you see them doing good. Because it makes it also a lot easier, honestly, to reprove them because they know that it's out of love. They know that it's genuine. Awesome. The next one is being reproved. It's a little bit harder. Actually, maybe it is, maybe. But being reproved, opening yourself up to reproval. So Proverbs is great for this, and it's kind of interesting, specifically Proverbs 9 and 10, what we went over in my DAP group this past week. So if you will, turn with me to Proverbs 9, 7 through 9. So last week I talked about how we don't love righteousness enough. I think that's totally evident in our life. With whenever people reprove us, whenever they come and talk to us about stuff, we don't want to hear it. We kind of, close our ears. Proverbs 9, 7 through 9. Let me see here. Awesome. Whoever corrects a scoffer gets himself abused, and he who reproves a wicked man incurs injury. Do not reprove a scoffer, or he will hate you. Reprove a wise man, and he will love you. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be still wiser. Teach a righteous man, and he will increase in learning. So, y'all ever have that one friend that you've kind of tried to reprove, and then every time they're the scoffer? I mean, it's telling you right here what's going to happen. Do not reprove a scoffer, or he will hate you. Like some people's ears are closed. But at the same time, I think that we need to take it upon ourselves to try and be wiser, to try and be more righteous, and open ourselves up to being reproved by each other. Also, Proverbs 10:17, just the next page. Right over. And honestly, there's so many verses about this, especially in Proverbs. These are just hitting on a couple, because this is a huge topic. Specifically in Proverbs. Whoever heeds instruction is on the path to life, but he who rejects reproof leads others astray. So here we see that it's actually not only yourself that you're hurting, but you're actually leading others astray as well when you're not being reproved. You're not opening yourself up to that. I mean, honestly, think about that. Like let's say I did something wrong, and Harrison here, he tried to reprove me, and I said no, whatever. other people are going to be looking at me, they're going to see that sin in my life, and I'm going to lead them astray. So not only are you hurting yourself, you're hurting others as well. And just actually, while I'm on that topic, it was really cool. Harrison, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, threw up on his Facebook, just, hey, what do you think I'm doing, potentially wrong? And honestly, like, I respect that a lot. Thank you for doing that. And maybe y'all want to do that as well. I don't know. But I think it's really cool that he is actually seeking out wisdom from his Christian brothers and sisters, non-Christian brothers and sisters as well, I guess, on Facebook. But he's seeking out wisdom. I think that we need to do that more often in our lives and be open to that. William, Trevor, and Leah. Can I have y'all up here again? Leah's not here?
I'm here.
Okay, Macy. Alright. So I did something last week that I just kind of want to recreate again, just because there's a lot of new people here. So Macy's standing in for Leah. New Leah and Trevor are dating, okay? Sorry, Leah, me too. Yeah, they're dating. And then William over here is sin. And sin is enticing. It's just like we read in Proverbs. It is delicious. And so sin right here is very enticing. Now, Trevor right here, he's looking at, the person who he's supposed to be with, let's actually say wife, because I think this is very important. We are the bride of Christ. Oh, we're going? Okay. We are the bride of Christ. And whenever Trevor looks at new Leah, whenever Trevor looks at new Leah, and he looks at sin over here, does Leah want to hear, oh yeah, I'll be your husband, because he's being tempted, or does he want to say, yes, full on, I want you. I hate sin. I don't choose it at all. Like which one does he want? Because we're talking about obedience here. We're talking about obedience through love, not just obedience or from feeling like we have to. The crazy thing, y'all, sometimes we, as Trevor, the world, we do choose William. Sometimes we do choose the love. Sometimes we do choose the sin over God, of our relationship with Him. Honestly, we choose it each and every single day. And the crazy thing is, because we are the bride of Christ, I'm thinking about, in the Bible, like the one reason why it says that somebody can get a divorce is because of exactly sexual immorality, cheating. And yet we cheat. I feel like we cheat on God every single day. But the crazy thing is, God still pursues us. But in that pursuit, does He want to hear, I cheated on you, and you're still pursuing? Sorry, that's the guy. Sorry, I cheated on you. You're still pursuing me though, and yeah, I'll just kind of sure if we got to go along this route, even through all that. Or does He want to be like, thank you so much for giving me a second chance. I want to show you my love by obedience.
It's weird because He looked at me when He said that.
In saying that, I'm going to go to a really hard verse. Thank y'all. You can sit down. Romans 13. Verse 1. Let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authorities resists what God has appointed, and those who resist will incur judgment. For rulers are not a terror to good conduct, but to bad. Would you have no fear of the one who is in authority? Then do what is good, and you will receive his approval. For he is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. For he is the servant of God, an avenger who carries out God's wrath on the wrongdoer. Therefore, one must be in subjection, not only to avoid God's wrath, but also for the sake of conscience. For because of this, you also pay taxes. For the authorities are ministered of God, attending to this very thing. Pay to all what is owed to them. Taxes to whom taxes are owed, revenue to whom revenue is owed, respect to whom respect is owed, honor to whom honor is owed. So, you know some of those people, like those Christians who are like, oh, that's like too far out there, or oh, I kind of don't really want to like look at that because I don't want to be convicted or anything like that. It says right here that we are to obey the law over us. Very plainly. So, I have a couple of challenges for y'all. Of course, the loving righteousness. Of course, the hating sin. But think in your mind, one thing right now. Please, and then keep it inside. You don't have to say it. What's one sin that you're trying to hide from either others or God and keep to yourself that you're not giving up? What is one sin that you're keeping to yourself? Okay, so that's one. We're supposed to obey the law. We're supposed to obey the law. Pay taxes to whom taxes are owed. Obey the law to the T. This is gonna be, y'all aren't gonna like this. The speed limit is a law. That's 2.
Hey, grandpa driver.
Yeah, grandpa guys. 3. The illegally downloaded music. 4. The illegally downloaded movies. Do you know how much like money we save with this? A lot. But we're loving money and ourselves over obeying God. And so I'm going to challenge y'all to do a couple things. That unspoken sin that y'all are hiding, I want y'all to work on that. The speeding, I challenge you to obey the speed limit. I challenge you to get rid of all illegally downloaded music and videos. But here's the hardest thing. I challenge y'all to be happy about it. I challenge y'all to be happy about this because these are things, Romans 13, these are things that are sins in your life, but I challenge you to be happy that you can give them up to God and show Him your love for Him. So, that's about all I got, y'all. Thank you. We're going to do a circle song.
We're closer than we are. Gather round, gather round, gather round. Trevor. Alright guys, we're going to sing Light the Fire and then Trevor's going to pray for us, alright? Is everybody in? Yeah. I feel much closer this way. I stand to praise you, but I fall to my knees. My spirit is willing, but my flesh is so weak. Like the fire in my soul, and the flame
showing your love to us. God, thank you so much for that love. God, we are so grateful for how much you love us. God, please forgive us whenever we fall short. God, please forgive us whenever we, like little children, mess up and choose sin over you and your love. God, thank you for constantly pursuing us whenever we do, God, and just constantly showing us your love. God, thank you for guiding us back to you. God, we are so grateful for that love. God, please allow us to